Let's look at lesson 16, the final lesson in the ratio unit, unit 2 in 6th grade math. And in this lesson, students are looking at the different strategies and tools we've used for solving ratio problems. So they're going to be solving problems, but they're also going to be talking about which tool is best for this problem. And so this is really high-level thinking we're asking them to do, to not just solve the problem, but justify why they picked the strategy they picked. Why is it the most efficient? Or look at someone else's and say, oh, that is a better strategy than mine. I want to use that next time, but why is it better for this particular problem? So look at the structure of the problem and kind of see why one strategy might be better. So the warm-up starts with a review of tape diagrams, and students create the situation that this could represent. And so you can get them to share some and confirm that they are understanding the tape diagram and how it's set up. In the second activity, there is one problem, but 3 different ways to solve it. So the lessons plan suggests 2 different ways you could do this. You could assign students to a particular strategy, or you could let students choose which strategy they want to use for this. And then either way, I like their idea that you, after kids have done the work individually, make a trio who has each used a different strategy to solve it, see if they came up with the same answer, and have them explain which way why they did it the way they did, why that makes sense to them, and maybe have some of those conversations, those aha moments about, oh, this way might have been easier than the way I did it. It took less work, any of those kinds of ways of thinking about it. And I think that will just clarify students' thinking on these tools. And then a lot of your job in the activity synthesis, which is in the complete lesson plan, is about talking about when each strategy is helpful, and also the things we need to remember in all of them, that the answer to these problems is never 4, it's always 4 cups of red paint or whatever it is. Activity 3, there's an optional InfoGap activity for it. I think that if your students are doing a great job with understanding which representation they would want to use on something, the InfoGap could be useful. I think if they're still processing through when to use each one and which one they like most, or when for a particular problem, then I would just give them the problems and let them solve them using their own strategy, and then talk with a partner about how they did that, what strategy they used, what representation they used. Because the InfoGap kind of takes the emphasis off the strategy. And so if your kids are still struggling with a strategy, I wouldn't use the InfoGap here. The summary does a great job of representing all of our ways of solving problems and kind of thinking through the important ideas in all of this. So make sure you save time for the synthesis in this lesson.